of the Nigerian citizens. So if you want to talk about police reforms, what is the structure of the police that we have? The policing structure that we have right now, the policing institution that we have in Nigeria is completely, can I use that word, outdated? We need to reform the police by creating the legal frameworks to allow states to have their state police, to have their local police, to have a kind of policing structure that civilized societies like the US, like Britain, are operating, where you have metropolitan police. You can see the efficiency of the police in the UK. You can see the efficiency of the police in Los Angeles or in New York police, and the rest of the, the rest of the state police institutions they have. So we really have to reform the police. Then, secondly, there has to be transparency and accountability within the policing hierarchy. The policing hierarchy is opaque. The way they operate their finances is very opaque. Nobody knows exactly how many policemen we have in a state like Lagos. How many policemen do we have? What is the total count of the police? Every other year, every president comes in and says, I'm going to recruit 10,000 police. Every other time, they're recruiting 10,000 police, 10,000 police, 10,000 police. And in most of those cases, the formality they adopt in recruiting those, getting those police recruits, they are not very
transparent.
Compliant to 21st century global best practices. Because even the Police Service Commission, weak as it is, inefficient as it is, ineffective as it is, even raised an alarm yesterday that they have noticed that armed robbers are being recruited into the police as I speak. This is exactly what the former president of this country, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo,
address some of them that you have raised, but I still want the journalist Jonathan to join in this particular discourse. Emmanuel seems to believe that the NSAS protest was one of the best things that happened to us as a country. Nigeria just came out, en masse to vent out. Emmanuel, Jonathan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
All right, fine. So I was just trying to lay my line of thought here. What Emmanuel said, well, the NSAS, but over time, it's been this like the second year since the 2020 protest by Nigerians across the country. But would you really say that the police is changing, in direction in the
reported that report against that here from the Nigerians, other Nigerians, definitely from Patigi, Baga, Chebe, and what have you. The position remains the same. While some feel there has been some change, to the greater extent, the truth is, well, I doubt there has been really any change. And the reason for that is very simple. We have a police which is basically a militia for the elite. And like Emmanuel had said, that look, the police is basically the modus operandi is such that suggests, okay, look, we are still loyal to public officers, not necessarily of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Let's just bring Lawrence back for the talk of reform of what happened in Edo State, Benin, to be precise, where the Nigeria police abused their obligation and extorted over 1 million naira from a student there. I just want you to just react to some of this.
And the style of policing is predicated or determined by the type of government in the country. That's why we have the colonial administration, was colonial policing, which was based purely to protect the interests of the colonial interests, not the interests of the citizens. That was why there was a brutality, there was repressive policing, abuse of human rights, and what have you. Not too long, Nigeria got independent, the military came on board. And military also does not rule by the truth. What the police need is that the police need what I call democratic policing.
Democratic policing.
Democratic policing conforming to democratic norms and policing to meet the needs of the people. And those democratic norms are human rights protection, rights of the citizens, policing to meet the needs of the citizens, and also have accountability and transparency in their operations, and being humane. The police are not policing animals of the forest. Policing human beings, that human content, the fear of God, human content.
But Commissioner, would you really say that during the training for recruitment for police, new recruits, that these do they undergo through all of these issues or this point that you have made to show consent for human rights? Are they really aware of what the law says concerning all of this? And people over time have talked about psychological training for the police. Do they have to go through all of this when they are at the recruitment stage?
Like I told you, I said the type of government in the country determines the type of policing. When the police came through, the country was established, like I said, by the colonial masters. Not too long ago, independent, the military came on board. Military also, the same attitude for regime protection. But the police were there established to protect interests of the colonialists. Because the police, when it was established, its attitude to everything, attitude is key. That orientation, let them know that they are there to serve the people. When I was CPF City, you see, it also depends on the officer's orientation, leadership, talent, followership. And on CPF City, I tell my officer in the FC Police Command that the way you want your brothers to be police in your village or your town, that's how we police people everybody in the FCT where there's commissioner of police. If you don't want your people to be brutalized, you don't want to be extorted, you don't do it in Abuja. And I enforce that. You see? So because I believe in democratic policing. Policing in the interest of the people. Understand? So it is when all this is done. But again, the police, because frustration is one of the things they are some of them behave the way they are behaving. They are being frustrated, they are poor salaries, I don't understand different why a policeman should earn less than the military officer. A police officer should earn less than a military officer. And a policeman is facing war every day of his life.
So are you saying that the poor remuneration is actually one of the reasons why the police would actually, start doing things all right and not really care about the average man on the street?
Frustration breeds some negative attitude. Frustration, right? Even a wife in your house, the wife is frustrated, the wife begins to show negative attitude. If the man is motivated, Maslow in terms of motivation.
So you advocate, or what more do you really think should be done?
Yeah, first and foremost, as someone who has lived in Abuja for over 20 years, I want to say that CP Alobi, what he said, is he even did much more than what he has said in terms of exemplary leadership. He was a very good police commissioner.
So why are other commands not borrowing a leave from the FCT then?
Let me land. The problem with the policing system we have in this country is that the moment somebody starts doing well in a particular department, they don't keep that person for more than 2 years, 3 years. They just pull out the person and take him to somewhere very inconsequential. Now let us.
Is that deliberate?
There are very good policemen. I'm not saying the police is totally bad. There are a lot of good, well-educated police officers in this country. What I'm saying is this: what is happening to some of those very excellent police officers, good professionals that have left the policing service? Why are they not being made consultants and people maybe include them as part of the training formation, so that people that are coming into police, being enlisted into police right now, will learn a lot from how the general in the army lives. You always see them have partnerships. They have a lot of programs. When they have programs for training, they invite them to train those younger soldiers. So what I'm saying is this: Nigeria already has one of the best police acts. Nigerian Police Act of 2020 that was signed by the president of this country. Take a look at it. If you read it, it's quite very simple to understand. One of the best. A lot of provisions in that act have elaborated so much about the need for the police officer to respect the fundamental human rights of Nigerians. But the problem we have,
but they're really aware of all of these rights.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of these police now we even have a Ministry of Police Affairs. Ministry of Police Affairs should do mass production of the copies of the Police Act and make it compulsory. Set up a test. Before you recruit any police officer, he must pass the test of understanding what is included in that Police Act of 2020. But right now, the police is even having credibility deficit. They're even having problem of finding robust and well-educated, young men to join the police. Everybody's aware that even right now, they're even saying certain sections of the country are not actually coming forward to be recruited into the police force. That's why we need to restructure the system.
All right,
Emmanuel. We need to restructure the policing institution in Nigeria.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel.
Nigerians will have a sense of belonging. Yes.
All right, Jonathan, let's try and get your own opinion in edgewise. We couldn't really understand what you were saying because of some disconnect there. But I just want to get your general thoughts concerning this holistic reform of the Nigeria police. In what direction should we be headed? Jonathan. Okay, I think we lost Jonathan there. All right, sorry about that, but let's just get some final words now from the former police CP, Lawrence Alobi. Let's try and sum all of this up, going by all the points that have been raised by you and, of course, by Emmanuel. So what should we be doing in the immediacy? What should our focus, our thrust be right now in the short term?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ed. The reform should be holistic and empirical. And again, like you made a point, the point is that the police have not been able to explore the resources they have of retired officers. We are very fine, knowledgeable, and professional police officers who are retired. But the leadership of the force has not been able to leverage on that. And like the chief of defense staff is doing, chief of defense staff is visiting all the geopolitical zones in the country, interacting has created a space where interacting with retired officers, military officers, asking the church to come and see they can contribute to add value and bring about a transformation that will enhance the performance of the military. This is what the police also do. The IG should at least get some knowledgeable and experienced police officers as think tank, as consultant. Because the young ones they carry the ranks, but they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge and experience. So I think the IGM, I don't know whether I'm sure there are some of them are listening to this program. We should at least invite some retired officers who are very knowledgeable, who are well exposed. You see, outside the country, outside Nigeria, our policemen are retired one of the best. I used to be in charge of federal operations for 5 years. I'm the longest staying in of Nigerian police. We train our men. They perform very well.
All right, thank you, former CP Lawrence Alobi, and of course we should say thanks to Emmanuel Onwubiko, National Coordinator of Huriwa, who joined us on this particular discussion, and Jonathan Abanga, journalist, in as much as I would have really loved to get your own opinion concerning all of these issues of police brutality, dehumanizing of civilians, and all of that happen in our polity. Well, thank you for staying with us. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, Nigeria moves from China to Europe for loans. How could the incessant borrowing affect us in the nearest future? More in a moment. Join us again.
The president 70% in the fight against corruption. You see, fighting corruption is not a tea party. It's a difficult task for anybody in any country of the world, no matter how powerful, no matter how developed the countries are. Corruption can be very tricky when it comes to avoiding the long arm of the law. And you also know that corruption crimes are not committed in the open. And that means that a lot of efforts will have to be put in place to trace the evidence of corruption.
I must tell you that originally and for some time, I've always believed in the tension in the country presently. let me confess to you that while I was the national legal advisor of the party and a member of the National Working Committee and the executive council of that party, the president had always resisted invitation to be domineering in terms of party affairs as much as possible. But as since progresses, you discover that gradually people, in my view, are gradually bringing all pressure on him to take charge of the party. In other words, submitting the entire party to the president. And I think that led to what happened eventually in dismantling the earlier structure.
The reason why we seem to have insecurity all around the country and the reason why they are escalating is because certain persons, what we said is that it is the duty of the political elites from the southeast region, because there are quite a number of people in government from that region of the country. They have not really done sufficient, they've not really shown sufficient commitments.
Welcome back now. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, has blamed the delays in major projects, including railways, on the inability of the Chinese to fund them. Amechi said the federal government has started looking for loans in Europe. His understanding with the Chinese contract, Africans generally have been sourced. Hence, right now, we are looking in the direction of Europe. Is it the right way to go?
Alternative means to infrastructure financing, as it were. Also being the fact that, when we've had a rollout of inactions, coming all through since 1999, even during the military era, we refused to human capital, in the sense, required to take these intelligent or smart infrastructure projects. So some form of reliance, will be required to take a few of these things and all of that. Again, speaking to the fact that inactions and bad public leadership has also led us to this point. So we don't have an option than to find other means to infrastructure financing. However, debt is not the only route, in as much as debt is not a bad option. Infrastructures we are building into